She looked like anyone else sitting there. She was quiet, completely unremarkable. The restaurant around her was a low roar of lunchtime noise. Clattering plates, distant laughter, the scrape of chairs against the tiled floor. Alex was focused only on the small, simple meal in front of her. She was just trying to eat her lunch. She had picked this corner booth for a reason. It offered a full view of the entrance. It provided a clear backline to the wall. This was the way her mind was wired. Even in a simple cafe, her mental map of the room was always active. Every exit was plotted, every movement registered. She was relaxed, but she was never truly off duty. Then the energy of the room shifted. A new kind of noise intruded. It was loud. It was entitled. Two young men, Mark and Tyler, stormed the central aisle. They were talking loudly about a sports game. Their voices cut through the gentle ambient hum. They didn't care who heard them. They saw the world as their stage. They were showing off for their small group of followers walking behind them. Mark swung his arms wide as he gestured wildly. He saw the small, quiet woman sitting alone in the booth. He registered her as an obstacle, a low-status target. He saw an easy mark. As he passed her table, his motion became deliberate. He adjusted his trajectory by less than an inch. One elbow shot out. It connected hard with Alex's upper shoulder. A sharp impact, a quick, disrespectful jolt. Mark didn't stop. He didn't look back to check. He let out a barking, superior laugh and kept walking. Tyler chuckled right alongside him. They had made a critical, fundamental mistake. They had misjudged the person they had hit. It was a mistake that was about to change their entire day. It would change the way they viewed the world and how they moved through it forever. This is the story of Alex. She lived a life defined by extremes. She had a demanding, near-impossible routine. She embraced a discipline that broke most people. Her mind was a tactical computer. Her reflexes were honed to respond in milliseconds. This precision was not a hobby, it was a career. Alex was a retired Navy SEAL veteran. This single fact explained everything about the quiet intensity around her. The way she sat, the way she watched, the way she ate without distraction. Now she sought a different kind of life, a simple existence. She valued peace above all else. She wore simple denim and a plain t-shirt. She was designed to blend into a crowd. No one looking at her would ever know the secrets she carried. They would never guess the rigorous training that lived beneath her skin. Mark and Tyler continued to swagger down the aisle. They were still celebrating their perceived victory, the casual dominance they had just asserted. They stopped 2 tables away. They were too close. They were still too loud. They were oblivious to the storm they had just stirred. Alex turned her head slowly. The movement was measured. It lacked the jerky surprise of a typical victim. Her eyes, however, held no warmth. They were neutral. They were empty. The pure, calm focus of someone assessing a threat. Mark finally looked back. He saw her staring. He saw the lack of fear. He took it as an invitation. He walked backward, slowly approaching her table again. He smirked. He oozed condescension. He pushed his chest out slightly. He still hadn't apologized. "Oops," he drawled, the word heavy with sarcasm. He waited for her to flinch. He waited for her to complain. He wanted a reaction. He wanted to win the minor social conflict. Tyler sauntered up beside him, mirroring his aggressive posture. The tension in the immediate area tightened. Other diners tried to shrink away. Then Tyler escalated it. He reached out to grab a napkin off Alex's table. His movement was unnecessarily wide. He deliberately knocked her water glass. Not her cup. The water glass. It tipped over. The ice and liquid spread instantly across the light wooden surface. A pointless, aggressive act of spite. The water began to drip over the edge. "Do something, lady," Mark challenged again, louder this time. The whole restaurant had stopped chewing. Every eye was locked on the small woman who had just been bullied. Mark reached again. This time he went for her small crossbody bag resting on the seat beside her. This was the final line. This was the transition from disrespect to theft. This simple act triggered the deep, complex programming Alex carried. She did not flinch. She did not raise her voice. She did not fight. She simply acted. Her hand, moving with impossible speed, shot out. It was not a sloppy, emotional grab. It was a precise technical movement. Her thumb found the radial nerve. Her index finger locked on to the precise tendon in Mark's wrist. The movement was economical. It was clean. It was over before the sound of the elbow even registered in the back of her brain. Mark froze. Instantly, his face went from aggressive smirk to pure, shocked confusion. He was standing, but his nervous system had been hijacked. He could not move his wrist. He could not pull his hand back. He didn't understand the physics of what had just happened. All he knew was that if the quiet woman moved her thumb a fraction of an inch, his whole arm would feel like it was breaking. Tyler stepped back a full yard, his mouth slightly open. The attempted attack on her bag was nullified. It ended in a single, quiet instant. Alex spoke. Her voice was low, yet it carried over the sudden, intense silence of the restaurant. It was a voice that was used to giving commands in chaos. It was calm. It was absolute. There was no anger, only clarity. "You have 2 seconds to apologize to everyone in this room," she stated, her grip unchanging. Mark tried to pull away. He couldn't. He tried to speak. Only a strangled noise came out. Before Mark could form a word, a man stood up at a table near the window. He was older. He was calm. He had been watching the whole time. He had seen the way He had watched the way she moved. He had noticed the intense stillness in her eyes when the conflict started. He knew the signs. He stood straight. His voice was firm. "Let her go, boys," he said, directing the command at the frozen young men. "That's a seal." The entire room seemed to hold its collective breath. The words hung in the air. "That's a seal." The boys' faces went white instantly. The realization of the scope of their mistake hit them all at once. The humiliation was immediate and total. They had picked the wrong person. They had messed with a level of discipline they could not comprehend. Alex released the pressure point. Mark stumbled backward, clutching his wrist. He and Tyler didn't say a word. They simply scrambled away, moving with a speed that exceeded their prior swagger. They were gone instantly. The fight was over. It ended without a single wasted movement. It concluded without violence. The weapon had been the quiet application of perfect technique. Alex watched them go. She reached for a napkin from the dispenser and calmly wiped the dripping water from the edge of her table. The restaurant crowd, previously silent, broke into a soft, murmuring applause. It was gentle, respectful. Alex ignored it. She picked up her fork and resumed her meal. Her peace had been disturbed, but now it was secured. This encounter is the final lesson for everyone watching. Never, ever mistake silence for weakness. Never mistake a lack of noise for a lack of competence. The loudest people are often the most fragile. Real strength is always quiet. Real world-class training is always on. It exists in the background. It waits patiently for the moment it is needed. That discipline is the true superpower. It allowed Alex to control the situation without raising her voice. It allowed her to win without throwing a punch. That is the definition of true, terrifying capability. If you understand that discipline is the ultimate superpower, you need to hit the like button right now. Share this story to remind others that respect is earned, not taken. And if you think you know of other stories where a quiet person surprised their bully, then comment below and tell us about them. We want to hear every single one.